I mean, I got to follow Brendan, who brought photos of PSAPs. I'm not sure how I do that. I guess since I'm the one that wore the tie, I have to be the one that does the policy talk. So thanks again. I'd like to echo everything that Commissioner Carr said about how great it is to be surrounded by so many people who are dedicated to helping Americans in times of crisis. At NTIA, as many of you know, FirstNet is an authority within NTIA, so we spend a fair amount of time in our day-to-day making sure that our nation's public safety first responders have the tools they need to make sure they can help out Americans when they need them most. And on that note, I wanted to take a minute to talk about the things that NTIA is working on to try and make sure that we bridge the gap between what Americans hold in their pockets that they need in those times of emergency and the first responders that need to be there. As you all know, every American pretty much at this point is carrying a phone of some sort capable of more than just voice. And our public safety first responders, whether they be on FirstNet or any other platform, are carrying smartphones increasingly. And FirstNet is certainly pushing that out to more and more public safety first responders every day. Unfortunately, in between these two smartphones, all too often we find our 911 call centers are still using 20th century technology and unable to take advantage of the opportunities that these new platforms present. To say it's unfortunate would be the undersell of the year. We have to do better than this. It's really come time for us to take the time to figure out what the challenge is in these call centers and get the resources necessary to upgrade them. As we work to catch up these call centers, and it's going to be work, communications technology is going to continue to evolve. We stand on the brink of 5G wireless network deployments in America, which among other things will allow us to connect consumers and the Internet of Things to our public safety first responders through high bandwidth and low latency services that can be of real use in times of emergency. It's why as we look at this and we look at our call centers that are stuck in the 20th century using technology that doesn't keep up with our current capabilities, we have to look at a solution that won't be a one-time upgrade. What we really need is a sustainable model to ensure 911 call centers can adapt as technology evolves. In our transition to Next-Gen 911, key stakeholders across the public safety community, including those represented here today, must demonstrate a continued commitment to action, and the Department of Commerce stands ready to help. My agency is somewhat uniquely positioned and prepared to take a leading role in helping you all advance Next Generation 911. In addition to our work with FirstNet, we have extensive experience with cybersecurity, which will be a need that needs to be addressed in PSAPs across the country as they transition to more advanced technology. NTIA can help develop best technical practices for cost-effective 911 deployments, and we have programmatic expertise in developing grant programs. One such program is underway now. As many of you know, we operate the Joint 911 Implementation Coordination Office, or the ICO, with our colleagues at the Department of Transportation's National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Earlier this month, we were excited to announce that we had 44 eligible entities for the $110 million that we're making available to help upgrade call centers across the country. That $110 million will help states, territories, tribal organizations, and the District of Columbia make necessary upgrades to their 911 call centers for next generation capabilities. Working with NHTSA, NTIA is committed to expediting the review of these applications and providing the funding to start making needed much improvements to call centers. I think it's important to also note that one of the criteria that we evaluated in making sure that people were eligible is to make sure that as we are collecting fees in the states for 911, that those fees are actually being used to upgrade 911. As all of you are too painfully aware, often states collect money and say it's going to be used for 911, and unfortunately, it gets diverted to other uses. The non-diversion requirement will remain in our grant program throughout the life of the grant, and it's something we're committed to making sure stays part of this program. We expect that when states say they're going to support our 911 call centers, they will do so. I'm excited that we're making a start on modernizing our call centers, but we're going to need a lot more resources if we're going to make the vital upgrades installed nationwide. The 911 ICO estimated in a study last year that it will cost between $9.5 and $12.7 billion over 10 years to transition US PSAPs to IP-based next-gen technology. And it's clear there's a lot of work to do here, but there's a lot to look forward to also. NextGen will create a faster, more resilient emergency system with critical information flowing seamlessly from the public through the 911 call centers and eventually directly to first responders. NTIA is committed to modernizing our 911 call centers, and we welcome your partnership in this transition. Only with a shared vision of what our capabilities could be and a continued effort to make that vision a reality, and it will be an effort, will we ensure that consumers and first responders can take advantage of the 21st century technology that we all take for granted and fundamentally transform the way we respond to emergencies in this country. Thanks very much for having me, and I really appreciate all the work that you all do day to day.